Hey, what's going on? So I was asked to look at this promo segment. It's about 8.5 minutes long. It's Tyler Cullprett at ProSouth. Tyler Cullprett has been rightfully proud of this and his League of Terribles. He's been putting up the quote from Larry Goodman that this is one of the best segments that's been a part of ProSouth in 2021. So I'm excited to take a look at it. I haven't seen anything about it yet beyond what Larry wrote, so I'm excited to just jump into it. You know how we do. So here I go. Reynolds, he's League of Terribles. Boy, the graphic looks good. Good job, ProSouth. Now, I have to admit something to you. When I first heard Tyler Culprit's song here, I did not like it. I will say for ProSouth and the atmosphere that they're creating with the dark thing, it definitely works. So I will say that the music works in this context very, very, very well. I'll talk some other time about some of the notes I gave about the song, um, probably on Patreon if nothing else, but for sure it is working here. Atmospheric. Look at his look. Um, the first impression that you make on a segment is vital, and right now they're absolutely killing it. Notice too, the other people in the League of Terribles come to the ring first. They're thinking like wrestlers, like we got to get to the ring. Tyler's thinking like, how can I look as boss as possible? This is a great way to do it, right? What's next? Look at that. Even that little thing is pretty great. Yeah, it's pretty great. Kudos. This one's dressed up right here, right? This one's standing in a pose and a position. Definitely an atmospheric presentational look. It's one of the critiques, strangely, that I had of AEW's last pay-per-view, where they didn't have anything overtly presentational, except in the cinematic one, which they did a good job with. But as far as for the live crowd, they didn't have an entrance that was engaging and different for their probably will turn out to be their biggest pay-per-view of the year. And yet, here we have it ProSouth. It doesn't matter how many people are watching. It doesn't matter. Um, they're going to do their thing. And I think that kind of attention to detail and the look and everything else, I think it's really significant. They got 8 minutes to go. All right, what the fuck is taking so long getting him the fucking microphone? Other people have to pay attention and they have to be ready. What you don't want is dead air and wasted time and all the rest of it. I know it seems like, Steve, why are you going off about this? Because if you're helping with a wrestling show, everything has to work in lockstep. Let's get fucking Tyler the microphone within like a second of him asking for it, please. Because in the absence of him having the microphone, now we're hearing this bitch in the crowd chatter away. And Tyler's going to address it and take care of it, and that's great. But already this sort of the bubble that they have so effectively created, the bubble of, okay, this is really cool, this is really thick. Now we're sort of thrown into the reality of just yammering with an Alabama crowd, and it feels very beneath Tyler compared to that entrance. Just saying.
You know why we're out here right now.
In fact, he should have walked out with the microphone. They should be that on it. They know that this segment's coming. They have it booked out. He should have walked out with the microphone. It would have looked way more boss for him to be there with the presentation and then just start talking. You know why we're out here.
Last week, in my absence, you had one job. One job!
Here's the thing. Instead of you know why we're out here, what if he opened with just engaging him? What if it opened here, right? You had one job. To me, that's a much stronger opening line. You had one job, and then just go into it. I'm going to be super nitpicky. I love Tyler's shit. There's a reason he won an award, so I'm going to nitpick this thing to death. And
To help aid.
And mostly what I'm doing is having him cut out the superfluous stuff and get to things faster, right? He has to do some exposition here. I can already hear it starting. Exposition is the most boring part of any promo, which is, let me recap for the people so we can know what's going on. It's a necessary component, but the faster you can get to it and the faster you can get through it, the better off you're going to be. Exposition is the enemy of live performance.
Aid the League of Terribles to victory. But what did you do?
I stood by and watched Cameron Keys get pinned.
And that wasn't your directive. I was watching.
He shouldn't have taken that little lap there. He should be standing in place because he's being defiant. This Reynolds, he's being defiant by saying, I stood by and let blah, 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 blah. I would have smacked him in the fucking face right there, if I'm being honest, if that's the gimmick that they're going for. But he's got to stand and deliver. This is about Tyler Cullprett establishing his power.
All night,
He walked away first. And if you walk away first and look away first, you lost.
Cameron Keys constantly directing you on what to do, and you're standing on the outside of the ring. When Eric Silva pinned him, you stood there, you did nothing. I will give you one chance to explain your actions.
I wouldn't even say I will give you one chance. I would just say, explain yourself. Everything is demanding. It's bad cop. It's browbeating.
Cameron Keys doesn't tell me what to do.
Because what you want is that line to hit as hard as possible. Cameron Keys doesn't tell me what to do. And then the crowd pop even bigger. And see, Tyler Cullprett walks away. That takes away his power. I know performance-wise, people think this is my way of reacting. And it's a common problem in pro wrestling. The gestures are too macro. They're too big. Sometimes you just have to stand and deliver. And the nuances in the voice, the nuances in what's being said, and you're taking a lot of dead air out of a thing. This is an 8.5 minute fucking segment that I guarantee you could probably be made into a really tight 5.
But per our agreement, who does tell you what to do?
Unfortunately, you.
Well, and I guess even more unfortunately, Cameron Keys. Attempted murder. They are extensions of me. Do you understand? If they tell you what to do, you do it.
That's great. We got to the point. We could have got there 2 minutes faster.
You know what? There's a lesson to be learned here. So, I'm going to tell you what to do right now. Get in the center of the ring and get on your knees.
This is a great segment. Now it's picked up. He's selling it well, too. He's selling it like, I'm reluctant to do this, but I have to do this, which is wonderful.
Go ahead, face that way. Let everyone see you. Let everyone see you.
That's good. See, he's putting his hands on him. He's directing him. He's taking charge.
This is what happens when you don't follow your orders, Reynolds.
The great sound, a discernible groan from the crowd in the best of ways, and now look at his demeanor. His smile, He's physically manhandling. This is how it should be. I'm hoping that this gets increasingly violent. That sounds so terrible to say. I hope this gets increasingly violent and faster, right? As he gets enraged. That would be a great choice. Reynolds put together really well. This is a great bit now. It's good. Yeah, see how it's getting increasingly violent? He even broke that umbrella over him.
Enough!
Who's saying enough?
Enough!
What's killing them is their lack of crowd and the lack of crowd enthusiasm. It's really hard because the backdrop of this thing should be noise, a cacophony of noise, and we're not getting it. So that's definitely hurting the segment. So I do like that enough. There has to be more of a sense of urgency. They have to provide the energy because they don't have a crowd to provide it.
One thing I love is this guy.
Nobody's feeling in danger,
This
though.
is my fault. I should have had your head mounted on my wall at the beginning of this.
That's a good line.
That is a mistake I will not repeat. The fact of the matter is, you got your name here. You got your strength here from beating me.
That's great. That's a great thing.
And that, my friend, is a shame that I'll carry to my grave.
Woo! He's making. He's
Quite possibly yours.
pushing those chips on the table. I like it. Is that Silva? I like it.
This is going on long enough. I know that Reynolds is a man of his word, and he will continue to.
And I love Reynolds taking the martyr pose here. He's beaten. He's breathing heavy. He's selling the damage. It's great.
Subject himself to this nonsense because that's what he does. The truth falls from his mouth whenever he speaks. He will always honor what he says. I'm here to put an end to it. So here's what we're gonna do. Redemption. Reynolds. His freedom is on the line. Cullprett, Silva, 3.
That's good. He got it across, and the crowd responded bigger than they ever have.
Beat
Good
you,
job.
Reynolds goes free. How about it?
What's the incentive for Cullprett, though?
Let's remind him what side you're on, Reynolds. You know what, Eric? Ever since I stepped foot in ProSouth, one thing has been constant.
Stand and deliver, don't pace. Stand and deliver, don't pace.
Every turn I take, there it is. Eric Silva.
See, they already got the big reaction out of Eric Silva and his announcement of that he wants to have a match for the freedom of Reynolds. At that point, I think you have to address it. You have to. This promo's now going in the upward trajectory thanks to Eric Silva. I think you have to address the obvious, right? This feels very indulgent and airy to me, not necessarily in a good way.
I can't seem to escape you, Eric!
There, that's the energy we need.
But I certainly have no problem disposing of you. Let's look at the track record. Battle Rumble, I beat you. Wicked Havoc, I beat you.
Look at how much better this would be if he was right in his face doing it. Because we've already established that Cullprett's not scared of Eric Silva per se, or else they would have rabbited from the ring when he came to save Reynolds, right? So at that point, Cullprett's got to stand and deliver. He's got to keep poking him in the chest, metaphorically and probably literally. So that way, when Eric Silva finally gets him for the comeuppance, it gets a bigger reaction.
If you want to do this again at Redemption with Reynolds' freedom on the line,
Good job. Good way to put it.
I think my odds look pretty good, but if we're adding stipulations, I have to admit I'm getting bored of beating you. So if I beat you at Redemption, Silva, that's the last time I beat you. That's the last time anyone beats you. That's the last time anyone sees you in this ring. If I beat you at Redemption,
Good.
you retire from professional
Good delivery of
wrestling.
the line. Good delivery. Good job with Cullprett.
You're on.
He should have hit it stronger, should have hit it louder. Take your time, put the microphone up, pause a second. You're on instead of you're on, and the microphone gets there. See what I'm saying? Small nitpicky stuff. Again, I think Silva and Cullprett are doing a great job. I just want to make sure that they sharpen everything to a finite
We'll
point.
see how
as much
far
as
you
possible.
go for your little friend's freedom.
That's a okay line. I would have rather heard a different one. Let's see how far you go for your little friend's freedom. I would have preferred this. I don't know how far you're willing to go for your little friend's freedom, but I do know that I will do anything to get rid of you. Much more ominous, puts even more chips on the table. You see what I'm saying? But generally, really good. I was really happy to look at this thing. Let me go ahead and get it up. Stephen Platinum, checking it out. And for this week, it's a good time if you want to send me matches and promos to take a look at. I'm going to pick an old-time match at some point to do as well. Possibly today, but tomorrow for sure.